Well, thank you for this, Julie. And of course, it's going to be a very interesting week. Yes, we're in the final stretch of the month of March. April is just around the corner. And so for the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to continue to see what we had predicted would be the case last week, and that's steadily increasing prices for energy. Now, markets this week took a bit of a break. On Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, they were watching the U.S. Fed and to see if, in fact, there would be a drop in interest rates. Had that happened, then commodities would have gone, energy commodities would have certainly decreased, rather increased dramatically, and of course, put a real crimp on decreasing supplies of gasoline, diesel, and oil, not just in the United States, but also in China. But instead, we saw sort of a stay pat position taken by the U.S. Fed, which had some traders believing that the price of energy, which had gone up last week, $4 or $5 a barrel, was just too high. And so what we're now seeing is a scenario developing once again where prices could start to move up next week. So just before the Easter long weekend, and given that it is a shortened weekend on energy markets that'll run Monday to Thursday and then the following week from Tuesday to Friday, it's likely to see some pretty big increases, probably in the order of about 3 to 4 cents a liter net. For now, however, we've seen a bit of a pullback in prices, a couple of pennies in parts of Canada, but don't take that for granted, because it looks like we're heading for much higher prices, especially on April 1st, when the federal government brings forth its very popular carbon tax. So that'll increase the cost by about 3.5 to 4 cents a liter, depending whether your province has an HST or a GST, Quebec being the exception. They will see an increase ultimately under the cap and trade Quebec-California program, but that probably won't happen until closer to July the 1st. What it means is that the total carbon tax hit for gasoline is now going to be over 20 cents a liter. In Ontario, 19.9. In the Maritimes, about 20.3, 20.4. And of course, out west, you're still looking at about 19.5. Then you will have the second carbon tax. We'll talk about that a little later on. Maritimes, Atlantic Canada, the 4 provinces there. And of course, the government of British Columbia has already had that in place. In BC, the carbon tax is about 17 cents a liter, the second carbon tax. And that'll be, that'll have to be layered on top of the existing carbon tax, 17.61. So you can see why prices for gasoline and diesel are starting to outstrip the pace, the rate of inflation, and the ability for many people to make ends meet. No wonder it is as unpopular as it is. And now with the environment minister saying it won't have any appreciable effect on diminishing emissions, if we believe CO2 to be a pollutant, scientists, I think real scientists say it isn't, then you're going to continue to pay for absolutely nothing. It does look like it's a tax redistribution strategy. And of course, that's something that even the minister's parliamentary secretary, my MP here at Milton, has confirmed. What this all means is that heading into next week, probably the best days to fill up will be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. After that, I would think that gasoline prices could move up average of about 2 to 3 cents a liter, with an additional 3 to 4 cents a liter as a result of the carbon tax the following week. Now, all this really means that we are heading towards what looks like a summer in which average prices in Canada will be 20 to 25 cents a liter higher than what they are today. That's correct. And that'll put us back to prices we haven't seen since 2022. We may not hit the all-time high of $2.15 in Toronto, $2.41 in Vancouver, but we're going to see $2 liter as more common a number, especially in Atlantic Canada, especially, of course, in British Columbia, and most notably in Vancouver. For Ontario and Quebec, a lot closer to 180, 190. And for the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, although they've had some variation and some backing off a little bit on their provincial taxes, Alberta will be adding 4 cents on top of the 3.5 cent a liter increase in the carbon tax, as well as Manitoba, which will do so, restoring looks like by June 1st, or at least July 1st, the carbon tax, or rather the provincial sales tax there, could be increased. All this means is that days of government being able to protect people continue to slip away as other levels of government, particularly the federal level, find ever more creative ways, despite the lack of popularity and their lack of popularity, to be able to impose hardship on Canadians. Energy affordability matters, and that's why these gas price predictions are so important. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for this, Julie, and enjoy your weekend.